All right, today we are going to talk about diabetes and all the things that you need to know, the symptoms, and also the ways to reverse diabetes. I'm super excited for this episode. Come and join us. Welcome to Be Healthy Podcast, the best way to discover practical tips and holistic health information for a healthier, happier life. I am Anna Marinho. I'm a physical therapist, mind and body coach, and intuitive healer. I'm also a bestseller author and a public speaker. And I heal myself before, and I know you have the power to heal yourself too. And today, we will talk with Karen Yelling. And Karen is a certified functional medicine health coach, nutrition coach, and personal trainer. She has all kinds of different hats. I love how she mixes everything together. She works with people on the type 2 diabetes, continue to help them prevent, reverse, and control their diabetes through permanent dietary and lifestyle changes, having reversed diabetes to herself. Karen wants others to know that reversal is possible. And when I read that and I met Karen before, I love that concept because that goes back to our philosophy of, yes, we can heal ourselves. Yes, we can empower our body to feel better. And welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes. Then with the idea of, yes, you did before and it's possible, can you tell us a bit more about your story?
So I was a phys ed major in college and took a lot of nutrition classes. And at that time, my grandpa was already diagnosed with diabetes. My mom was, actually, I think both my grandpa and my mom were. And I was learning a little bit about it in college, and there was a genetic component. We did know that at the time. And so I got really interested in myself, just watching the numbers that I needed to watch. And then 2 other aunts were diagnosed. And so it really became, I'm watching this train coming at me, even though I'm extremely different lifestyle than they are. I was a college athlete. I stayed in really good shape. I ate a fairly good diet, nothing great, but a fairly good diet. And I still got diagnosed at the age of 35 when I was a competitive racquetball player.
Oh, wow.
That's when I met up with a functional medicine practitioner who guided me to start changing some things. And my symptom was a lack of energy. And that happened really bad on the court. And I'm in the middle of a game, and all of a sudden I had no energy left. And that's when I immediately went to the doctor and got tested. So I needed to find a place to get that energy from. I needed to figure out what was going on with my diet, that I just had nothing in the tank. And it turned out what I did, my first thing that I did, besides, I wasn't really a big sugar eater in the first place, but the first thing I did that made the biggest change was I implemented beans into my diet. And before I played, about 2 hours before I played, I ate a big whole bean burrito. And that took the place of all bread. I still had the tortilla with it, but I had those beans. And that made, at that point in time, when I was 35 years old, that made a huge, huge difference for me.
Wow.
So from then, as life goes on and the years go by, our body's always changing. We always have to be on top of this. That was my first step. And if I just had only that step now, I wouldn't be good. I'd still have diabetes.
Wow, that's fascinating what you were saying. You were so young. And I think a lot of times people associate with diabetes with the fact that you'll be not exercising, you are not eating well, you're like older, then it's fascinating to hear your story where you're starting to have some symptoms and you're like, okay, what's wrong here? What's going on? And let me check that, because you didn't necessarily fit in with the stereotype, I guess, with diabetes. And that's wonderful that you were able to find a doctor diagnosis and starting to move towards your healing journey per se. Then share with us a little bit more about what are the symptoms that would be kind of like typical of someone that have diabetes.
Okay. What I see is, the energy drop for me was big, but I was in the middle of playing racquetball. So I was in the middle of this really strenuous sport. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. That's why this is so bad. This is such a bad disease, because you just don't know. It's so silent. But they frequent urination, being thirsty all the time. You know, when it starts getting bad, you've got a decrease in eyesight. You might have some tingling in the extremities, especially the feet. You know, even mental fogginess. And I'll also give, this one's a big one also. And that is extreme tiredness. This happened to me not too long ago. I was at a restaurant eating pho, PHO, Vietnamese noodles. And I had said no noodles in my soup. They gave them to me anyways, because they told me it was something that I misunderstood. And so I ate the noodles. And before we left, I just got this overwhelming fatigue. And I'm like, oh no. Now I had to drive home about half hour. And I'm thinking, oh no, it's the noodles. Oh, you know, so that one has been really plaguing me for years and years. And all it takes is one meal that my body doesn't agree with. And it just happened to be those noodles. Now, I've also taken my blood sugar at that point. My blood sugar is never low. It never, ever has gone low because I've never been on medication. My blood sugar goes high. And I start reacting at about 160 or 170, which really isn't that high for a diabetic. But that's when I start noticing these little changes and these definite symptoms. So, matter of fact, I've had signs of low blood sugar, which is like shakiness and kind of maybe a little bit of irritability. And I've taken my blood sugar and it's like 160. Wow. So I think everybody's different, but I think it's just something we really need to be aware of, and always keeping our finger on that, you know, that question of how are we feeling?
Yes, I love what you're saying as far as the how are we feeling. I think that's such an important question. A lot of times we forget to check in. We check in with everything else in the world, with everybody else around us, but we don't do that check-in. And the idea of the diabetes, it can have also the peaks and lows, right? Like it can drop like really fast. Then some people can be experiencing the other end, would be the low blood sugar, where I can totally relate to that, because when my blood sugar is low, it's like, do not talk to me. I am so irritable. I am so sensitive. I'm kind of like, my husband sometimes joke with the idea of being hangry. It's like, give me some food for this woman.
Right.
Then that's a typical, more like the low blood sugar symptoms, but keeping your eyes on it, that even if you do have the high blood sugar, you can also have the low symptoms like you're referring to it. And I feel like it's important for people to start realizing what are the symptoms they have, that when they do come to talk to doctors, or they do come to work with someone like you, they can explain to them all the symptoms. And the symptoms is also very important to starting to notice the changes. I feel like a lot of the patients, when they come to me, and they be like, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, who's gonna know?
Exactly.
Right. And the more we kind of create some of that body awareness, for example, what you were saying about the noodle was that was it. That was not a good food for you. Your body didn't react well. I feel like in general, anytime that we have something related to to food sensitivity, bringing some of the intuition, and I call it intuitive eating. It's like knowing what is that thing that just doesn't feel good, then just don't eat it.
Exactly.
Right. Start to kind of getting a little bit more in tune with what our body is asking for as well. Then we know, no, that's not a good idea. Oh yeah, that feels really good. Like you were saying with the beans, then the beans was a really good solution for you, and it probably can help a lot of people that have some of those symptoms as well, but needed to be something specific for each person, depending on where they're experiencing. Very cool.
And also I want to say that I call it the diabetes continuum, and that's where the symptoms really start with being overweight and eating a bad diet. The standard American diet is going to do something to anybody. And so
sooner or later.
It starts with that. I mean, for some people, it could just be 5 pounds overweight, depending on genetics. And then you also have, the outward, or the more, let's say more outward, the more physical signs, such as like, or detectable signs, I should say, high blood pressure, weight gain around the waist, things like that, and high cholesterol, high triglycerides. They call that metabolic syndrome, and then that pairs up with the high blood sugar. So you do have those things that are detectable. The thing is anywhere along the line, as long as you still have beta cell function in the pancreas, it's all reversible. Just got to do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tell me more about you discover what was happening. You found out there was a problem, and what did you do to heal yourself?
Okay, so it was a journey. It's been a journey. It still is a journey. It'll be a lifelong journey. So, like I said, I started replacing my bread, any type of bread products. I replaced that with beans. And I found that if I eat beans once a day, I'm doing really, really well. Now, along the lines, about 4 years ago, I started on this program by my functional medicine practitioner. And it was an experimental program he put me on. It was I would call it a diet. It was pretty strict. But in that process, I lost 15 pounds. I've never put it back on. And he also introduced me to fasting. So I've implemented intermittent fasting into my regime, and I do that once a week for 1 day. And again, not something that I recommend for everybody. People with a unhealthy outlook on food, or relationship to food. I don't recommend it for people who are on diabetes medications, because they will drop you low. And this is meant to just really heal the organs, let the organs rest, let the gut rest, let the gut heal, let the pancreas have a break, because it's working, 20%. And just give everything a chance to heal. So I implemented that. Then in January of 2020, also that 4 years ago, when I started implementing those changes, it was vegan. It was a vegan diet. And I didn't take it up 100% at that point, but I definitely dropped my meat intake, probably, I'd say 70 to 80% lower. And then in January 2020, I went to a whole food plant-based diet, and I'm still working with that. It's been, I'm finding that I do still have some sensitivities, especially to grains. So I have to be careful of that. But it all comes down to fiber. The more fiber you can get, the better you are. And if I can get about, I eat a lot of fiber. We'll just say that. Yeah. I get a lot of fiber. I think the RDA is 25 grams a day for men and 18 for women, or something like that. And I will eat 3 times that. I'll eat 70, 75 grams of fiber a day. So it just means I'm eating a lot of vegetables and fruits. That's all it means.
Yeah.
But in there, when I was going on this journey, I couldn't eat fruit for years because it just spiked me too much.
Sugar.
And I'm thinking, this just doesn't even add up. I look at all these vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, phytonutrients, all these really good things that I'm having to give up. It doesn't make sense. What's going on? That's when I just knocked out the fat out of my diet. I knocked out the saturated fat, the animal fat, with the healthy fat. So
I love what you say, Karen. I want to make a pause there and make sure that everybody heard that, because a lot of times when people have problem with the sugar, they don't realize the fruit can be a big problem.
it can be.
And because fruit has a lot of sugar, even though it's healthy.
Right. It can be.
That's a good point to be aware.
Yeah. But it's also a sign that you're not functioning on all cylinders.
Exactly.
Now I can eat fruit and I'm fine.
Exactly. And I love that's such a big piece for people to understand. That's not like you can't eat it forever.
Exactly.
But it goes back to what we were saying on the beginning, as far as the awareness. If we are aware of how our body reacting, how things are feeling, then as our gut starts healing, we can reverse the symptoms. We can reverse, and the healthier our gut is, the better we can tolerate, especially if it's something that's healthy for us.
Right.
Then that's a really good point, because things are not set in stone. Yes, fruit has a bit more sugar, but they also have a lot of benefits. That is not a black and white statement of like, okay, you just cannot eat fruit ever. Right. But being aware of how things are processed inside of your body, for sure.
Right. And there were a lot of finger sticks in there. I didn't have a Dexcom or one of those things. I just like the diabetics 5 years ago, we all had to stick our fingers to see what was going on. See how we were reacting to certain foods. And I think that's super important too, is that if you want to try a food, you kind of suspect maybe it's not good, give it a shot. 2 hours later, check your blood sugar, see what it is, because that's your indicator if it's a good food for you or not.
Yeah, and I think also bringing that point of working with a healthcare provider, then we can get more specific information for each person. Right. Versus that general, someone told me that X is not good for me and B is really good for me, therefore I should follow what someone else is doing. Right. But working with someone like you or someone that specializes on diabetes or the symptoms that the person's having, and being able to really narrow down, okay, what is the plan here? Versus that it works for everybody, or a protocol that's going to be generalized. That's a really good point as well there.
Yeah. And also, we, to that point, we are so different. So, I can have a peach, but Joe might not be able to have a peach. His blood sugar might just get too high. So we are different in that aspect for sure. We just need to make sure all of our boxes are checked as we're going through these and going through this process to make sure that we are dealing with the cause of diabetes and attacking that. So.
Yes, such a good point. Going back to the cause, right? We know that diabetes has a genetic component there, but we also know the epigenetic already prove that we can turn on, turn off genes. Then there is a lot of things that can be actually modified based on our actions every day. I actually had a patient before, then there is a technique they call visceral manipulation. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It basically goes, it's almost like a massage into the organ. Okay. And that is a way for you to massage the pancreas, and then we work on the stomach and the intestinals and that duodenal kind of link there. And I had a patient before that I was working, I was working with more general digestive problems. And he came back to me after a couple of sessions to say, Anna, I don't know what's going on with my sugar. My sugar level is dropping too much. And I'm going to have to go back to my doctor and see what's going on. And he's like, could that be because you've been working my pancreas? And I was like, absolutely, because as we get the organ healthier, it's going to function better.
Right.
And if it's going to function better, it's going to need less support. Either it's the medication or is the food that we are doing. All of those are things we use for supporting our health. And that was such a interesting experience, because that was not necessarily the goal of the treatment, but he ended up getting that as an extra bonus.
Yeah, that's
and that goes to prove again that he's been diabetic for years with nothing helped, nothing gave any results, and suddenly we start to getting the whole gut health healthier and stronger, and then the pancreas can like, okay, I can take a deep breath.
Right.
And that's definitely a technique that I highly recommended to patients that do have diabetes, to introduce also to complement to everything else that you're being saying. I think that's all adds up for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's that called again?
Called visceral manipulation.
I'm gonna write it down. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great technique. But tell me, what are 3 tips that you wish all your clients know about it?
Well, beside the tips, I'm just going to give you one thing. I just want people to know that diabetes is type 2 diabetes is almost always reversible. When it's not reversible, that means either it's not type 2 diabetes and there's an autoimmune component in there, and or there's been too much beta cell destruction and death. Okay, so 3 tips. 1, drink more water. Definitely drink more water. Water. Just flushes everything out. Number 2 is fiber. Eat fiber. I go through my program with my people, and we go through months without having them take anything out of their diet, but just add more fiber. Just get it in. And fiber is all your plant foods. So any plant foods that you can eat, go for it. The third thing is exercise. And exercise doesn't have to be, going out and running marathon or training for a 5K. It doesn't have to be that. A simple walk for some people is going to be good enough. I know for me, there's a huge difference. I take my dogs out for a walk, and it's hilly. It's big hills. And we do about 40 minutes. And then there's a big difference in my blood sugar. Okay, so I'll walk for about 40 minutes and I'll come home and I'll test my blood sugar. And it's about 30 points higher than if I also add in a 10-minute bike ride. So that 10-minute bike ride makes a big difference. And depending on what I eat in the morning, so that will make my breakfast good for me or not so good for me. So that's how big of a difference it makes. Now, for some people who have been sedentary, a 10-minute walk might just be really, really enough. It just might not take that much. And I really stress, even being a personal trainer, I just stress steps. Get the app on your phone. I know the Apple phones have, the iPhones have the little heart app on there, and you can check and see how many steps a day you're taking. Because really, that's all it takes. Just watch those steps and keep them going up every day. So exercise is like insulin. That's how effective it is. So if we could just get that in every single day, it's really, really to our benefit.
That's fantastic. And it's so true. Like sometimes we look for expensive and big solutions and something out there, and it's like, oh my gosh, give me a bigger and better solution. This is just simple. And it's so efficient.
Right. It's simple. Yeah. And
if we just do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I totally agree with you with the exercise. My mom is actually diagnosed with diabetes, and she was able to reverse the whole symptoms, and she stopped taking medication because she didn't need it anymore. With some of the, especially exercise was one of the biggest things that she added. She also did a lot of changes with her food and mindset, and it's a package. It's never like one thing only. Yes. But it goes back to it's possible.
Right. Absolutely.
And if we start doing the small steps, the easy, we can all drink more water. We can all exercise more. Right. Most of the people just sitting on their desk all day long. Put a standing desk, move around. Like sometimes I say, like, put alarm on your computer and stand up every 10 minutes, go to the door and come back. Just get the body moving, because the body is not designed to be sitting all day.
Exactly, for sure.
It makes a big difference. And bringing back to what we say earlier about the visceral manipulation, when we move, we are also stimulating the organs to move. And we actually increase motility when we are moving. That's why that's one of the reasons why exercise is so helpful for digestion. Because it helps to increase the motility of the organs with the movement as well. There's so many good benefits with exercise.
Exactly. And then you get the water to flush it out too, it's like
exactly.
It all works together. Like you said, it's one big package, and we just got to put all those pieces together.
Absolutely. Those are fantastic. Then thank you so much, Carrie, for sharing all the information with us. And hopefully it's being helpful for everybody that's listening. Hopefully they can take a lot of the things that we talk about today, take home and start acting on it today, because those things can make a difference as soon as we start actually doing. Then I highly encourage, if you're listening today, choose one of the things that we have done, that we talk about so far. What is one thing that you can start doing today? And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and put down the comments that we can hold each other accountable. Or if you're listening there on Facebook or social media, make sure that you comment below, that we can all hold each other accountable, that we can all improve our health and be in a better place. Then, Carrie, is there anything any gift that you'd like to offer to our listeners?
I would. I have a recipe book that is a packet of recipes, I'll say. And they're all high fiber, delicious, by the way, diabetes friendly. And you can get that at www.karenyaling.mykajabi.com/FIM. F as in fire.
Perfect. And I will put all the details and the links below under the description as well. Fantastic. If people would like to know more about the work that you're doing and all this wonderful experience and transformation that you're creating with your clients, how can they find you?
I've got a couple ways. You can go on to Instagram. My handle is @KarenYaling. You can go onto my website, which is KarenYaling.com. So those are a couple different ways. I also, I also have a Facebook private group that's called, let me get it right here, Reverse T2D with Karen.
Oh, fantastic. Love it. Love it. Is there any final word that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would just say what you just said is start with one thing. Start with one thing, and then next week add on another thing. You can drink more water. That's a great place to start. That's where I start with my clients. So just keep adding up those little baby steps, and it's going to make a big difference in the long run.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today and bring all your wisdom and all these actions and options and tips that people can actually start to implement on their life today. And thank you so much for all the listeners. joining us today. Please subscribe to our channel and share our podcast with anyone that you know that needs to improve their health. Hope everybody's having a great day, and I will see you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.